So it's been a little while since I've done a trigonometry video, so I thought I'd go over their recent video of Kisin and Foster talking about their honest opinion on Israel. So let's see how far I can get into this before I go insane. Let's get straight into it.
We survived World War III.
Bit of a damn squid, 12 days. The idea that Israel is now committing a genocide, I would say, is a mainstream position now. But when it comes to the propaganda war, there really is only one winner. They don't understand this. They cannot wrap their head around the fact that people think differently in different cultures.
They have no interest in trying to...
What does that mean? That's such like a weird dogma, so like people think different in different cultures. Yeah, but why? Is that inherent? Is that economic? Is it historical? Is it cultural, political? Like, Francis Foster is not equipped to have this conversation.
work out what the solution to the problem is.
Iran couldn't give a flying toss about the lives of Palestinians.
How does he know? Has Francis Foster ever been to Iran or Gaza or Israel? Because if he hasn't, he shouldn't be talking on this.
Contrary, the more of them die, the better it is for Iran. Who is it that's preventing the conflict in Gaza from coming to an end?
Israel, the most, backed by the most powerful, richest country, most sophisticated military in the world, America. Unequivocally. Unequivocally. The power imbalance is so clear. You have Hamas, not really well funded. They use bottle rockets. Like, compared to sophisticated AI technology, actually a lot of the technology Israel is using to slaughter children has been kind of like put around the world. Like, it's being used across the planet at different checkpoints, different borders, different military outfits. Like, so let's not act like Israel doesn't have the power to stop this like that.
All right, Francis, welcome back to another episode on whatever this is. Good news, we survived World War III.
Exactly. It was a bit of a damn squid, 12 days.
Yeah, but there were a lot of people got very excited about it, which I thought was quite interesting and telling. Because
interesting, he says the 12 days there. That'll come up.
There were people calling for Dave Smith called for President Trump to be impeached. Tucker Carlson explained that this was going to cause thousands of American casualties. And really, it was over pretty quickly. And not that big a deal.
No, but it's always good to hear from the moderates.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to World War IV. That might stretch out to...
Is he trying to act like they're the moderates here? They always say this. They always play that, we're the moderates. We're the enlightened centrist. And also 12-day war. Where did they get from? They got that from Trump. That's not spontaneous. That's a Trump framing. He wanted it to be a 12-day war so he could seem like he's the peace guy. He's the anti-war guy. Like, why are they using that framing? So strange.
Full 2 weeks.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, we're joking around. But I just thought it was such a telling moment because it just shows you that the people who are always losing their shit online and in the media, which increasingly are becoming the same thing, they really don't know what they're talking about a lot of the time. And there's so many clicks to be had from pretending that you know, and from presenting the worst possible scenario, and from amplifying and exaggerating the worst voices and doing interviews with the most extreme people.
Are you joking, Kisin? Oh, he's smiling. He knows what he's saying. Look at that frame. He knows. He's like trying not to laugh, like, we do this.
And then you get a very distorted picture of reality being presented to people.
Absolutely. And I think you really...
See, they had to cut away there because Kisin was just like... Fucking hell.
Really hit the nail on the head where you were like, we are incentivized. And by we, I mean people...
He made him say that. Like, just say that. Just really say that. Like, I've really hit the nail on the head. Like, he's got a little script there for like little things that Francis has to say.
The new media in the
but
media...
we are too. We could have done those things and got all the clicks from doing that if we'd chosen to.
Didn't they do like a video recently like, Gaza is not a genocide? What's happening in Gaza? Not a genocide. Like, that is a clickbaity title. Like, and also most like online stuff is clickbait, but it's a question of like because everyone does it, like left and right. I think the right does it 1,000 times more, but often the left will do it and get you in, and hopefully have more of a nuanced discussion. Like I tried to do that to an extent. I'm doing shorter videos now, but like it's inevitable online. You have to try and stand out, and there's more voices and platforms than ever. So yeah, it's hard to stand out.
Absolutely, throwing a little bit of trans in there as well. All of a sudden, you're on to a million. But the reality is we're
Did you say trans then? Because that's what they do. Like that's all they have is the culture war. They don't have policy. They don't have any question of power or like do they question power structures? No, they don't. They reinforce everything they do is reinforcing the status quo. They never question the ultimate power dynamics in capitalism, in the West, like in the UK. It's like you can pretty much guess their positions, and often it reinforces the status quo.
being incentivized, much in the same way as the old media was incentivized. If you think about the tabloid press in our country to come up with ever more salacious stories, salacious headlines, because you know that will generate clicks, it will generate engagement, because what you're doing is not actually giving people information, you're playing on people's emotions. You are triggering people emotionally. And when people react emotionally, what they're not doing is reacting logically.
I agree, but that's your channel. You have reactionary takes, you have all these reactionary people come on and have their stupid opinions that trigger the audience. Like this is exactly the same. I mean, look at the comments. Go and look at the comments in this video. I put the video in the description. Look at the comments. It's not a nuanced discussion on the geopolitical dynamics of the Middle East. Let's just put it that way. It's actually incredibly racist, but you can't say that word in a minute because it upsets them.
And in many ways, people enjoy being triggered emotionally because it means you're feeling something.
They've got a channel with over 1 million subscribers that is called Trigonometry. They think it's ironic, but they are literally it's designed to trigger conservatives and people who don't know about this stuff. Like often ill-informed people who just have an emotion like, oh, I don't like trans people. Oh, it's just they're weird, aren't they? Like trans people. Like when did they come out? Like 2016. And then Muslims, when did they come out? In 2001? Like what are they about? What are Muslims about? Do you know what I mean?
Getting something. It's why if you actually did an entire podcast just presenting people with dry facts, nobody's really, or very few people are going to listen to it, because actually what people want, whether they're reading, whether they're listening, whether they're watching, is they want to feel something.
Right, stick around because we're going to do a lot of triggering. We're going to talk about all the stuff that outrages you. But actually, I think you make a really good point. And
see, they're not like they always do this ironic distance and like we're above the fray, and then you do that. Like, just be honest about it. Like you are seeking to trigger conservatives through topics like immigration, trans rights, like wokeness, cancel culture, freedom of speech. Like that's all. Like, why are they pretending they're not just that? Like, and also dry facts. Like, yeah, people. I mean, you could read books. Like, people don't read books anymore. A lot of books are dry facts. Like, oh, it's insane.
And I think it's a worry. However, you wonder what the impact of that will be, because obviously a lot of people said a lot of things and then came out and were completely discredited as a result. President Trump stared them down, in effect, right? Because there were a lot of people effectively trying to...
Yeah, but he does this all the time. He supported Trump like last November, and now all of a sudden, is he still bigging Trump up? Like, what? I mean, I'd love to hear his views on the Epstein thing, the tariffs, the inflation, the fact that he has bombed Iran, even though he said he was anti-war. Like, what is he really doing? Like, apart from those virtue signal things about transport, and like, is he gonna like fix the country? That's what Kisin said. Like, if Trump doesn't thingy, they're done. So
to say he's choosing the wrong path. He was proven entirely correct in the approach that he took, effectively. And you wonder what that means going forward. Whether that means that people will stop listening to those people as much as they have been, or whether these people carry on as if nothing ever happened. And
No, people, you say stupid shit all the time. That's wrong about trans people, about Muslims, about Trump. Like, they will continue to listen to you because your personalities, and they don't have anything else in their life. So they'll just triggering up to be like, we're going to trigger the libs because that's all you have. And then whataboutism, and then perceived hypocrisy, and they can continue. Like, the lack of self-awareness is truly astonishing with these guys.
And people carry on listening to them as if nothing ever happened. But for me, it was a really important moment. And the whole conversation about Israel is evolving as well, isn't it?
It is indeed, because one of the things that I find really interesting about Israel is that people in our space tend to be pro-Zionist, they tend to be pro-Israel. We're both pro-Israel.
How are you defining our space?
Our space, as in kind of the little... That's a very good way of putting it. That's a very good question. By our space, I mean the people that we know in the UK.
Right-wing grifters who don't have any values. They just follow the money, follow like stupid public opinion. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's a very narrow way of looking at it.
Yeah.
No, when I think of our space, I think of like the YouTube channels and the podcasts, right?
Yeah.
In that space.
What? Yeah. Yeah, just use. We're trying to frame that as like, oh, we're just YouTube, just part of YouTube, guys. We're not right wing. We're just YouTube guys. We're just part of the internet. Just part of a big family on the internet. What?
Space, I think it's very divided, actually.
Yes. And in fact, what I'm seeing when I talk to people, and when I talk to people I describe as normies, and when I ask them about Israel, what I find very interesting is actually how much they disagree with our point of view on Israel. The idea that Israel is now committing a genocide, I would say, is a mainstream position now within regular people. They will say it's
a mainstream position with legal scholars and experts in genocide as well. So let's not just talk about the mainstream. Yeah, that's important and actually says a lot because they see it on TV every day. They see the images, they see the numbers, and they go, okay, like Israel have gone way too far. Like, this is a genocide. This is a genocide.
Mainstream position. It's not even a debate anymore. That is actually what Israel are doing. Now, you may ask them what does that define genocide. They may not be able to do that, but they will say
they will, like the destruction of a people in part or completely. It meets that definition. There you go. Like, we wouldn't be having this argument if it was anywhere else. They'd be like, yeah, it's a genocide.
Absolute conviction, this is genocide. You will look at Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan is actually saying Israel is committing war crimes. And I think what Israel needs to be very mindful of is...
I mean, that's not even a debate. He is, like, Netanyahu I'm talking about, is committing war crimes. He's killed numerous civilians. Of course, yeah, like if you don't concede that, like, you are being really dishonest, I think.
Is the fact that they may be winning the war against Hamas and against Iran and all of these countries and organizations, but when it comes to the propaganda war, there really is only one winner, and it ain't Israel.
Well, let's go back to talking.
Yeah, public opinion has gone against Israel because it's a rogue state that's funded by, again, America, biggest economy on the planet, most powerful country, and they've just been left to do what they want, carte blanche, just kill children, tens of thousands of children, at least 100,000, if not more, innocent civilians. Like, yeah, there's a reason why. It's not even propaganda either. It's just what we're seeing, like the first live stream genocide in history.
Because you kept saying our position, and I want to maybe lay out how, I don't know about you, you can talk for yourself, but how I arrived at the position I have on that issue. Because people who watch our channel will know that neither you or I ever had a position on Israel.
No.
And this latest flare-up of the war is obviously
it just shows you, like, And then which one have they gone for? Well, what's the most financially lucrative? What's the biggest grift you can do? What's like, what would get us more money? And it's not supporting Palestine, is it? Is it? Let's be honest.
Very significant. There's very heavy casualties, etc. But it's not the first time Israel has been at war, including in our lifetime, really. This has been going on for a long time. So our first encounter with this issue as an issue was, it would have been 2019, I think, the first time we interviewed Melanie Phillips.
Oh my God.
As I said, I think, to her face when we last interviewed her, I didn't come away from that interview thinking, well, Israel is like purer than pure and whiter than white and everything is great. I came away from it thinking, Melanie made some good points, but overall, the creation of the state of Israel is clearly a contentious issue, right?
Contentious. Come on. Ethnic cleansing of 750,000 people. Like, you wouldn't say that about any other country. Like, oh, it's contentious, just casually ethnically cleanse someone and then occupy them for decades, brutalizing them, treating the Palestinian people like second-class citizens, killing children. Yeah, just contentious.
And that was really my entire takeaway from it. And I never really had an opinion. And I didn't have an opinion when October 7th happened, other than October 7th was really bad, obviously. It's a terrorist attack. And then we interviewed people from every side of that conflict. Bassem Youssef, Norman Finkelstein from the pro-Palestine side. And Bassem Youssef was a big eye-opening moment for me, because I remember before we started the interview, it was all friendly. It was all joking around. We're going to have a great conversation. And I asked him what I thought was a very simple and reasonable question to ask, which is, ultimately, once October 7th has happened, what do you think Israel should do, given that you are advocating that it shouldn't do what it's currently doing? And he just wouldn't answer the question. And I felt really bad, because people who watch our show regularly will laugh.
See, he's just cherry-picked a thingy out. Like, that's bad that he wasn't able to answer that question. Maybe he was on, sometimes you're kind of like, okay, I don't want to address this question. He should have just been like, well, end the occupation, end the brutal occupation, like adhere to international law, withdraw from the West Bank and Gaza, and then, we can see who's held accountable for their war crimes, be it Hamas or Netanyahu. But like the fact he's cherry-picked that is like, oh, that's an indication against the Palestinian cause now, that someone couldn't answer a question or didn't feel able to, or in that moment, like, didn't feel comfortable. Like, come on. He always does this as well. Like, he thinks this is an argument, or because all he really tries to do is Kisin, is like try to get gotchas. And this is why, if I had the opportunity, I probably wouldn't speak to him, because he will just try to do the gotchas. And I'm not saying this is a gotcha, what he did to Bassem Youssef, but that's all he wants. He's using that now as like, well, we can't support Palestine because, they can't answer questions.
Laugh at this, but I really don't like the idea of hogging the mic, and I'm always worried about, like, I've been talking for a long time, it's time for you to chip in and whatever.
This is so ironic, because I've scrolled through this and it's mostly Kisin speaking. It is mostly Kisin speaking. He can't shut his fucking mouth.
But with him, we just kept going round and round and round around this question. And I kind of realized, first and foremost, that many, many people who are talking about this issue, they simply have no interest in actually being rational about this entire situation. They have...
What? No, you're not. It's an occupation. Like, he's on the side of Ukrainians and the brutal war in Russia. He's consistent, but he's not consistent with Israel. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And the people on the other side as well, who are pro-Palestine and then pro-Russia, it doesn't make sense. Be consistent in your morals. Like, an illegal invasion and illegal brutal occupation. Like, they're very similar.
No interest in trying to work out what the solution to the problem is, first and foremost, right?
Solution is quite simple. Adhere to international law, withdraw, and come to, withdraw. That's it. Withdraw from the West Bank cause. That is the solution, essentially. Is that going to happen? It's very unlikely, but that is the solution. But are they going to talk about that?
And then you add on top of that I'm pretty certain that if we had had modern technology like the camera phone and the internet in any other major conflict in history in which we were involved, the West, I mean, right? We'd be experiencing.
What does he mean? That's so weird. We evolved the West. What does that mean? Like, is he talking about white people? Is he talking about America, the UK, Australia, Canada, Europe? Like,
many of the same things, because in every war that Britain's ever been involved in, or America's ever been involved in, or God forbid Russia's ever been involved in, the troops of that country, whichever you align with, have committed war crimes. And if you look at World War II, I mean...
oh, so he's doing whataboutism. Okay, this is what Shmuley did the other day. So, I didn't think he'd go for this. Usually he tries to do a little bit more than just the typical, like, box standard argument. So he's just going, now he's just doing a whataboutism, like, well, every war does war crimes, so Israel is allowed to too. Come on, mate.
Britain and America destroyed 80 German cities. We were dropping like way more munitions on Germany than Israel is dropping on Gaza per head of population.
So that justifies it? I mean, Gaza's tiny compared to Germany. Germany's a pretty big country. Like, come on, mate. You said I didn't think they'd get this bad or this soon. We're 8 minutes 40 in, and he's just doing the whataboutism. Just nothing. I should have expected this, because this is an hour and 18, and they're talking about this. Like, what are they gonna say? Like, realistically, what can they say? Settler colonial project, brutal occupation, backed by biggest military on the planet, tens of thousands of children dead, war crimes, genocide, opposing international law. They've just been let it happen by the West, because the West has got blood in its hands too. Keir Starmer has, Trump, Biden in particular. Like, come on, Kisin.
To the point where, you know, according to some analysis, it's like several nuclear weapons worth of munitions every month.
What's your point?
Flattening entire cities. I mean, killing somewhere between 300,000 and 600,000 civilians, German civilians, just in the bombing, right? From what I understand. So I think a lot of this is to do with the way that we, on the one hand, living in relative peace and safety. We talked about this in our upcoming interview with Dominic Sandbrook, which is a great interview. Are then confronted with the reality of war, if you want, 24/7 on your phone. You put that together, and the emotional reaction of that, coming back to where we started this, is so overwhelming that critical thought, I think, becomes very difficult.
What? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's pretty clear. What Israel is doing is wrong. Like, are they trying to gaslight us? I know the right, I don't like using that term, because the right use it all the time and they don't know what it means. But what the fuck is he talking about? Like, you're trying to gaslight. It's like, see, when you see the murder of a dead child on Twitter or on your like, you're being emotional there when you react to that, like slaughter. Like, when you see like the leg of a child, you're just being emotional. You're not being rational there when you see that reaction. Yeah, you just stop being emotional about a genocide and just let Israel do what it wants. Come on.
At that point, right? And I know this, and I'm not, it sounds like I'm saying that the people who support this particular view are like stupid. I'm not saying that. I just mean that...
Yeah, it does. You're saying, yeah, you are. You're saying they're being emotional. They're not being rational about it. That's not an argument. Like, you're just projecting your feelings, because you can't be rational about it. You're being emotional, going, well, yeah, well, Churchill killed millions of innocent civilians in World War II. So if Israel do it, I guess it's fine, because we did it in the West.
Being confronted with the reality of war is such a powerful thing.
What does that mean, the reality of war? Like,
it becomes then difficult to actually...
They always romanticize war. War's fucking horrible. Like, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Like, and also, was it in World War II? Like, barely any men really actually engaged with physical, because it was fucking horrible, the trauma of it. Like, I think it was like 5-10%, don't quote me on that, like, who actually wanted to kill. Like, they were off their heads on amphetamines, drugged up. Like, no one wants to be in war. And it's like, well, the sad reality of war is children have just got to die. I'm sorry. If you're emotional about that, that's you just not being rational. Israel should be able to do what it wants. Come
think
on.
about this from a more historical and rational perspective, which is what
If you do look at it from a historical and rational perspective, withdraw. Withdraw from the West Bank, Gaza, and some form of reparations. I mean, especially now that they've leveled like 70% of Gaza, they need to pay for that. There needs to be heavy sanctions on them. There needs to be, Netanyahu needs to be in The Hague for war crimes and genocide. That's the rational thing, like we did in World War II. What was the reaction to the Nazis? Pretty rational.
how does this map onto everything else that's ever happened, and therefore what is actually right or wrong, or what? Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm completely seeing what you're saying. I think
I don't. He's not saying anything. He's saying don't get emotional about the slaughter of children. Sorry, but people will, and people are. There's a reason why people are fucking sick of Israel. Like, even above, it's not even a political thing at this point. Left and right, people are sick of Israel. They need to be reined in. They need to be stopped.
Look, it's part of the reason why I make sure that none of that content ever gets through to me, because I don't want to give myself PTSD via my phone. It's why when we were invited to go and see the films of October 7th, I didn't want to go, because I can read about them, and I've read about them thoroughly, and we've read Douglas Murray's book. I know what happened.
Fuck me. This is the level that we're on. They've read Douglas Murray's book on democracies and death cults, which is all going to be pure projection, pure fascist projection. Everything he blames the Palestinians, Hamas, Gazans is going to be what Israel's doing. Oh my God. Why would you admit that? Like, so what have you read? Have you read any Ilan Pape, any Norman Finkelstein? No, just Douglas Murray. He's been to Gaza,
I know the awful atrocities that were committed. I've read about them. I don't need to actually see them and essentially damage my psyche in order to ingest that content. But also, I think if you are going to have a strong opinion on this conflict, which you have every right to do, every right, then
Oh, nice. So they do believe in freedom of speech.
your responsibility, and I use that word, responsibility, to understand what is actually happening. I have family in Lebanon. When I talk to my family in Lebanon, they talk about Hezbollah. Hezbollah are evil. They are evil. They are Islamic fundamentalists who believe in establish a global Islamic caliphate. Women should be subjugated. Gays should be killed. They believe in their absolute rule of law.
Well, we all agree with parts of that.
Yeah, of course. The women thing. Come on. But the reality is,
See, they make a joke there, but they kind of do. They are reactionaries, aren't they? And it's just that double standards of like, well, we hate trans people, Muslims, but when other people are reactionary, it's like, well, it's because they're brown. Like, we're okay being reactionary and, selling bullshit. But when other people do it, we don't like that. But I suppose if you're making money from it, it's okay.
these people are not good people. And they have contributed to Lebanon essentially being in a state of civil war for decades now. So this idea that...
See, it's complicated, isn't it? Because I think he's essentializing these evil people. Like, the Middle East is a complicated area, often because of the UK's influence, our colonial influence, what happened in the early 20th century. And to say, like, someone's evil, because I don't believe that term. I don't like that term. I use it for clickbait, for views, but I don't think Israelis are evil, or Jews are evil, or Palestinians, or Hamas. Like, these are complicated geopolitical forces. Like, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. Like, the idea that, Hezbollah, yeah, I'm not a fan of Hezbollah, but they are a reaction to what's happened in the Middle East. And we need to be rational and look at the historical context that created Hezbollah and created even what Israel are doing. There's a reason why Israel is a rogue state. It's been left to do what it's want, basically do what it wants by America and UK. And then you've got a whole history of trauma there, going back hundreds, if not thousands of years. So yeah, we need to understand both sides and look to a solution. And often the solution is international law when we can apply it. But we don't apply it to Israel. That's the problem.
That Israel is just psychopathic aggressor that enjoys
But you're saying that on the other side. But like, oh, Israel, like, no, they're not psychopathic. Like,
destroying Gaza and wiping Gaza off the face of the map. It's a very, to put it kindly, one-dimensional view of the situation.
That's so ironic, isn't it? That you're saying that, like, about them, but I agree. But you're just saying that about Hezbollah, and I assume you'd say that about Hamas. But you've got to look at both sides and be complicated on both sides, not essentialize them, not say, oh, it's their culture, that's how they are. No, they're not either one. Like, they're a product of radicalization is formed, like, because there is radicalization on both sides in Palestine and Israel. They do hate each other, but that's a complicated history of colonialism, racism, the historical area, a very specific area as well, because it is somewhat unique, although I say we have to apply international law, and I think we should. It is a unique area historically. Like, there is numerous people have claims to that land. That does make it complicated, and it is a small part of land. Like, America's fucking huge. Like, it's a huge, well, part of a continent. Like, big. We're talking about a small part of land here that, there's no easy solutions here. And I think they may even realize that. Like, there is no easy solutions to the Israel-Palestine conflict. I think there should be a two-state solution. That's probably not going to happen. But there are no easy solutions. But there is. It's just not going to happen.
Situation. And I really do believe, if you're going to have a strong opinion about this, have a strong opinion. But make sure you've done the reading. You actually understand the geopolitics.
Make sure you read Douglas Murray's book in all good bookstores. Get it from Waterstones, Amazon, and W.H. Smith. Get it now, $9.99. Come on, fuck off. Ridiculous.
Politics behind it.
Well, right. And also, the reason I've come to the position that I've come to on...
We don't... Come on, we know this. It's because you're a fucking idiot.
Is you just conduct a mental experiment in your head and you go, imagine that you are the Prime Minister of Israel on October the 8th.
See, you have to start there, not go back to 48 or 67 or 2009 or 2015 or 2019 or even 2022. Like, you have to go like, oh, what happened then? I thought you're being rational and looking at the history of occupation, treatment of the Palestinian people, second-class citizens, apartheid state. Even David Cameron in 2010 called it an open-air prison. This is a conservative saying, yes, what Israel is doing is fucking bad. Like, come on.
And actually imagine it. Don't say the words.
See, it's ironic now because they are being emotional, aren't they? They're going, well, we can't be emotional. We have to be irrational. But be emotional and put yourself in Netanyahu's shoes. It doesn't work like that. We need to look at international law and say, okay, what's happening? What is the solution here? What needs to be done? Like, sovereignty for both Palestinians and Israelis. Equal under the law. They get the same rights. They can vote. They are equal citizens. Israel claims to be a democracy. But, do Palestinians get a vote?
Imagine it. Thousands of your citizens have just been slaughtered or wounded. Hundreds of them have been dragged off as hostages by...
Okay, why, though? This, apart from you think Hamas are evil, why has this happened? Is there any historical context here?
Extreme jihadi fundamentalists, right?
Did Hamas start out that way in the late 80s? 1987, I think they started. No, they didn't.
And then you go, okay, if that had happened to Britain.
So being pure emotional then. Pure emotional reaction. It's so flagrantly dishonest, isn't it?
Or if that had happened to America, or if that had happened to any other country, that
it's interesting he says that, UK and America, because he will frame it as like, well, they can do what they fucking want. 9/11, bomb the shit out of a country. The UK, bomb the shit out of a country. You don't do it to us. Like Noam Chomsky famously said that about 9/11. This doesn't happen to us. It doesn't happen to us. So, like, carte blanche. So, like, he's saying, like, this is just like a genocide apologia at this point. Like, what were they meant to do? What was Netanyahu meant to do? He was meant to kill 100,000 innocent people. Like, he had no other option. They could withdraw. They could have some restraint. They could go, oh, why did this happen? Reflect and go, maybe the brutal occupation of a people will radicalize them. No?
you might be a citizen of watching this. A, what do you think your government would do? And B, and this is really important for people to think about and really be honest, is what would you want your government to do, right? And people go,
be honest, not slaughter, not commit a genocide. I think that'd be the first one. I'd be like, right, start there, not genocide, not war crimes, and not the sniping of babies. Start there, and then, go as you mean to go on. Like, it's insane. It's just lack of agency. Like, be honest. Like, what would you do? You'd commit a genocide, wouldn't you? Come on, you would. You would. We all know you would. Come on. Obviously. Like, how would you not commit genocide?
oh no, I'd want them to do really, be careful and do this. Really? Is that what?
Fuck me. Yes, I'd want them to be careful. I would want them to be restrained in emotional turmoil. Yes, it was horrible. Like, everyone agrees. What happened was disgusting. But like, oh no, we can't be restrained. We just have to fucking slaughter children. We have no choice. It's sad, but
What we saw on 9/11? We saw the American public be wanting to be really surgical? I don't think so.
Oh, fucking hell. Really? He's even justifying the Iraq war now. Most people recognize that was a fucking catastrophic mistake. And that's why a lot of even Republicans are anti-war now. Well, they kind of play on it. Like, but they kind of have, that's how much it's seeped into culture. It's even seeped onto the right, where you would have had so many war hawks 20 years ago, like going, yeah, get the Muslims, get them. No, like now people are a bit like, no, we don't want to go into the Middle East. They don't want to bomb Iran. Like, things have changed. Iraq did really have an impact on the broader public consensus on war.
And my thing with this is, I think the truth is, there's a luxury belief thing going on, which is
fucking hell. Where there's a luxury belief going on where, like, when someone carries out a terrorist attack, like, some people think that you shouldn't be able to commit a genocide in response to that, and that's just luxury beliefs, because, like, it's just that's just, you're just sitting in your ivory tower, you're sitting in your studio with your million subscribers, and you pay, and your Substack, your members, probably a Patreon, you're earning tens of thousands of pounds. It's just a luxury belief. Like, you have to do it. You just have to. It's they don't have a choice. Come on.
Because we, sitting in comfort and safety and plenty, are judging Israel, which experienced the most horrific terrorist attack in their history, right? And
in their history, I suppose history of Israel. Okay.
If we were in their position, I hope we would be as careful as Israel, but I don't think we would be.
What? Careful as Israel? Like, even Francis Foster's like, what are you talking about? They're not being careful. Oh, yeah. They're really careful, the IDF. They're actually the most moral army on the planet. Did you know that? Like, we are.
is the truth of it. I don't think we would be as careful. I don't think we would be.
Bollocks. Actually, like, the US military is quite restrained. They are quite disciplined. I assume UK is probably quite good. So I assume the UK military would not like be doing anything the IDF are doing. Like, I know they did stuff in Iraq, and I think that's probably set the culture now where like that's unacceptable. And they have done stuff in the past. I'm not saying the UK military are great, but they probably are, unfortunately, one of the best, like in terms of discipline. But like the idea that like, the UK just do what they want.
As the ratio of civilians to combatants killed would be anything like what it is now. And historically speaking, that is how it's gone down. After 9/11, America invaded 2 countries, one of which had nothing to do with 9/11. That is the level of overreaction we saw there. So,
okay, so he's saying it's the overreaction there, but it's not when Israel do it. They shouldn't have to be careful. Why should they be careful? But it's overreaction now. Which one is it, Kisin?
you can definitely say Israel is committing war crimes. Every country at war has committed some war crimes. And
see, that's like, so it justifies it. Like, well, it's just part of war. To an extent, yeah, you're going to kill, there's going to be collateral damage, there's going to be friendly fire, there's going to be, but that needs to be punished. And that isn't just inevitable, like, oh, it's okay. Well, wars in the past, then Israel just get, they just get carte blanche or they get a free ticket. No.
This food distribution thing is sus, and the settlers in the West Bank. There are lots of questions about stuff like that. I think there are very legitimate criticisms to be made of the way Israel has prosecuted this conflict. But
good, and that's there is. Well done. Thanks for actually acknowledging that. Yes, there is. People are allowed to criticize Israel and the genocide that numerous legal scholars and lawyers have deemed. Like, yes, they are. Great. The first sensible things he said in 14 minutes.
As a broad thing, is Israel doing what we would do? I don't even know, because I suspect what we would do would be far worse in the same situation. So,
why? Based on what? I don't believe that. Maybe 200, 300 years ago in our colonial empire, maybe. And we did do very similar things. We were, like, we kind of, the modern kind of model for colonialism. Here in the UK, baby, we give it to Israel, and we were a big part of it in the early 20th century. So the idea that like this is really strange. Like, this is a really weak argument. Like, they're saying, oh, be rational, don't be emotional, and then say like, I think the Britain would have been worse. I think they would have killed, I think they would have done a bigger genocide. So Israel, so what's he saying when he says that? He's saying, well, what is he saying? Well, he's saying Israel, we shouldn't criticize Israel, essentially.
I'm not going to sit here and in an air-conditioned studio in a place where October the 7th could never happen and judge them for the way that they're processed, for the fact.
Why not? You just said you could judge them, though. Which one is it? See, this is why he's so fucking slippery. And I'd never really want to talk to him, because he's so dishonest. He's saying, well, we can't criticize them because we're in an air-conditioned studio. Yes, you can. You can criticize any country and their actions when they're killing innocent civilians. Like, why is he... Who's convinced by this? Who is this for? That's the question. Like, who is this for? Because he's saying, be rational, don't be emotional. Let's try and come to solutions, concrete actions we can take. Like, what is this? Like, oh, well, Britain would have been even more naughty. So, and Britain's not got a track history of colonialization and invading like 90% of the world. We're the good guys. We brought democracy and freedom to people, even though really we brought racism, colonialism, capitalism, genocide. But we're the good guys. We're the good guys. Come on. He's a fucking idiot.
That they are attempting to destroy the people who did this. And to say nothing of the fact that, of course, all the figures that we...
Yeah, but we knew that, like, the war on terror, George Bush's war on terror, victory, like, it doesn't work. Like, trying to just get rid of them. You can't get rid of an idea. You can't get rid of a reaction to colonialism and occupation and brutalization. Like, you need to go into the root of it. Like, that's the symptom. Hamas is the symptom. What's the cause? Well, many things, but the occupation is one of the main ones. You can go deeper into the history of Israel, the Jews, the treatment of the Jews, and I think you should, because it is complicated. But international law has to be the basis in the 21st century. We can look back at the history and go back hundreds of years, but now at the present, international law has to be the way.
Get told in all the news, etc., are Hamas lies, right? And, you know, there are people like Piers, by the way, who say, well, they should let journalists in. I'm not necessarily against that, although I do think what would happen is basically that a lot of them would get killed because it's a tiny little area.
Fuck yeah. Just Israel just fucking snipe the fuckers. And they've killed like 200 journalists. They would talk about that, will they? Aid workers, Red Cross staff, food workers, like, they won't talk about that. That's fine. Well, it's inevitable, isn't it? If you go into a war zone, which journalists have historically, like, they don't necessarily expect to get just fucking sniped by Israel, you know, or country. Come on.
Highly urban conflict. Some of them probably get set up or killed by Hamas, and then you've got them being used as their deaths being used as a propaganda weapon as well. So
what? God, they all acting like, oh, we're so neutral, we're in the middle. But like, if a journalist was to get killed, that'd be used as propaganda. Not that that's fucking bad and you shouldn't kill journalists. No, that just makes Israel look bad. But they can't look bad. They have no agency, remember. They have to do this. What else are they meant to do? This is the only talking point you hear now. And it's fucking depressing, right? Come on, how depressing is this? Like, what else are they meant to do?
Anyway, my broad point is I've come to the position in Israel that I have by engaging with
by engaging with just whatever the right-wing fucking talking points are and saying, well, what else are they meant to do? You're not engaging at all. You just literally have just read Douglas Murray's book and gone, I've got it sorted out. Hamas, Palestinians, just evil. It's just how they are.
arguments and then going, okay, but what would I do in the same situation? What would my government do in the same situation? And not being a hypocrite and not hold.
Yeah, but the UK government wouldn't do that. The UK government wouldn't just they would not do what Israel's doing in reaction to it now. Like, let's say France, I was going to say Wales. I mean, it's the Principality part of Great Britain, so that doesn't apply. Say France did a terrorist attack. Unlikely, very unlikely. Like, would the UK just react and just go after civilians and kill tens of thousands, maybe over 100,000 plus civilians? Like, unlikely.
Israel to a different standard that we would hold ourselves to. That's the only thing. So I
No, we're not, though. We're really not. We're holding the standard to international law. Don't snipe children in the head. Like, please. Like, that's such a weird. I really expected more from Kisin. Sometimes he can be he's slippery as fuck, but sometimes he, will have his little talking points, and it's all gotchas. Like, well, trans people, what are they like, eh? And you go, oh yeah, trans people, yeah, oh, very scary, aren't they?
I don't even consider myself pro-Israel. I don't think I am pro-Israel. I have just looked at the facts of this issue, and that is how I see it.
Only someone who is obviously fucking pro-Israel would say that. Like, oh my god. It's nice to see he's letting Francis have a talk. I'm gonna round this up to an hour, so we've got 11 minutes left because I'm actually having fun with this. I'd love to do the whole video because it's an hour and 18, but we're 15 minutes in.
In this particular conflict, Israel could be engaged in another conflict. I'd be anti-Israel if I thought it was the wrong thing to do.
What I'm saying with pro-Israel is I believe Israel has a right to exist.
Of course.
Which,
yeah, so do I. But so does Palestine. So does Palestine. And there has to be equal rights in both countries. for everyone. And it shouldn't just be Israelis who live in Israel. Like, anyone should, like, they want an ethno state. They want it just to be Israel for Israelis. No. Palestinians should be able to go in and out. Like, anybody. I should go, if I want to live there, I should be able to go and live there. Like, that's my problem. Like, I don't like ethno states.
We think is a pretty mainstream position. I'm going to be honest with you. Amongst young people, I don't know how many of them do.
Well, they are the ones that are then generating this conflict for eternity. Because if you don't think Israel has a right to exist, you're putting Israel in a position where...
Who said that, though? Who's saying that? They just put... I think that's a straw man. I think a lot of people don't, but I think a lot of people will be like, yeah, they just don't want you to be occupying their land. They have to come to some agreement of, like, sharing the land in some way, because there's two people that both got a claim to it. There has to be a recognition of both of them in terms of equal rights, equal under the law, and like some compromise on both sides.
It has to continue to fight for its existence. And then this entire thing is going to keep going.
But you look...
Yeah, but do you believe that for the Palestinian people, though? Do you think they have the right to fight for their existence? That's the question I'd ask them. And it would be interesting to hear their answer, because I just don't think they would. In terms of what they're saying, they'd be like, no.
Look at, for instance, the footage coming out of Glastonbury with Bob Vylan chanting death to the IDF. And the fact that it was getting chanted back in a...
I'm sure they've got... These are freedom of speech guys, so I'm sure they think that death to a military, which is not illegal, by the way. Like, killing civilians is. Killing combatants is not illegal. I'm sure they're going to be on the side of free speech here.
Sea of Palestine flags. If you look at the amount of people week on week going to these protests, you know, pro-Palestine action protests, 70 people being arrested, that is telling you something quite fundamental about young people's attitude.
Yeah, that they're against genocide. I think that's good. Well done, young people, for having some moral fortitude in a time where propagandists like this are trying to gaslight you to say, no, you're just being emotional, right? When you went on Twitter and you saw that, you know, pile of children's body parts, you're just being emotional. Be rational and read Douglas Murray's book, and you'll understand the whole history and whole dynamic of the Middle East. There you go. Thank me later. Hit the subscribe button.
I think so.
First of all, I didn't hear much chanting back on the death to the IDF thing. It was notably much more muted than the other stuff. And by the way, we should talk about that because it's a free speech issue as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people started losing their shit about him. And I thought, you know, make fun of it, criticize, whatever. But like, if someone went on stage and chanted death to the Russian armed forces, would the people melting down about that?
Okay,
about
fair play.
The chance about death to the IDF be having that same reaction?
Fair play to Kisin. He's consistent on. There's one time he's consistent. Fair play. I'll give credit where it's credit's due.
I don't think so. I personally think I don't agree with it, obviously, but from a free speech perspective, the musician has every right to do that.
No, I agree. And
I fucking hate these people. It's like Joe Rogan, isn't it? Like I'll say a pretty firm position, and then I'll just completely contradict and go like, oh yeah, I agree, yeah, freedom. Fucking hell. But people are like this, though. I suppose in a way they're just the average guys. They have no moral consistency or moral positions or consistent political ideology. Like they just.
I think I get really uncomfortable when I see people on the right a couple of years ago screeching about free speech. And I'd be like, yeah, you're right. You know, it's bad that somebody gets cancelled for their views.
Yeah.
And then you flip markedly in a space of, you know, a couple of years and demand and celebrate that this person loses their agent, gets their visa cancelled.
Yeah, and the right have been doing that. They're like the idea that right aren't for cancel culture is insane. They love it when people on the left, like Gary Lineker, Bob Vylan, Kneecap, they fucking love it. They just don't like it when they're cancelled. That's it. Like they have no consistency. It's really that simple. Like free speech as well. They think, oh, free speech to say whatever I want, and then someone says something they don't like, and it's like, oh, you can't say that, can you? It's like, so what? It's just blatant at this point.
Able to play certain shows gets deplatformed, and you're going, hang on, you've got to be consistent.
Coming from you just said that you didn't like it. Oh my god, it drives me insane. This has been fun, but also fucking insane.
Goes back to the emotion part of it.
Yeah.
And I do think
Oh my god, yes, you're all emotion. Their positions are based on, like, the trans position based on emotion. Their hatred of Muslims based on emotion. Just the idea that somehow all Muslims are scary, evil terrorists. Their view of the left. Oh, we're all scary on the left. Oh, they're coming for you. The idea that all Palestinians are Hamas and they're going to hide in your bedroom and they're going to come for you. And they're evil. They're evil. Like, come on.
lot of people are just governed by their emotions and they can't help.
Projection. Just projection. It's all projection. That's all it ever is. Every day, every day.
Themselves. And the moment they see something that triggers them, and look, I understand we all have our triggers. We all have some things that touch us and then we react in a way that is...
That's illegal. That's illegal, by the way. That's illegal.
Emotional, not logical. But if you're on the right...
I'd be interested to hear what is his then. If he's saying, like, everyone's got an emotional trigger, what's yours then, Francis? What's yours, Kisin? Like, what... Obviously, we know it's Muslims, transes, and Palestinians, but, like, I'd be interested to hear if he's reflected. Because, again, these guys have not reflected on their positions, clearly. They're not self-reflective, introspective guys who go, actually, right... No, these guys have obviously either been astroturfed, they're being paid by someone. I'm kind of surprised they're not pro-Russia. Maybe they're not. I know Kisin has, well, he claims to be Russian. He's lived in England most of his life, but he's not English. He was born in Russia, I know that. He's a Russian immigrant, but he doesn't like other immigrants coming in. Like, I'd be interested to know what their triggers are.
And you have championed facts don't care about your feelings.
Well, I don't know if that saying applies to this situation.
I love it when Kisin gets annoyed with Francis Foster's bullshit. It's like, I love it. I love it.
What are the facts here?
The facts is that free speech is important and you should...
You were just saying before you didn't like it. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Oh, no, I am for free speech. Yeah, come on.
Shouldn't cancel people because their speech differs from your speech. That's a fact.
And by the way, I imagine his agent knew that this is the stuff he was doing, presumably.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not the first time he was doing it.
No. This...
Oh, that was fun. If you enjoyed that, hit the like button, subscribe, join my membership. I have 99p level now. You can support my work for 99 pence a month. Cheapest chips. Get a bag of crisps for that. Actually, I'd rather get the bag of crisps. Yeah, get the bag of crisps. See you in the next video.